Hi everyone, my name is Megan and welcome back to What's Your Why. Thank you all so much for clicking onto this video. It's one I'm really excited about because it's with the amazing Grainne, who is actually just sunshine embodied in a person. The reason why I asked Grainne to be a part of What's Your Why is because I feel like online and social media can be such a negative place. And when you have one or two people like Grainne popping up on your newsfeed every so often with just positive content, I really enjoy that. So I just wanted to kind of capture Grainne's why and share it with people. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I'll let Grainne take over.
So I'm Grainne. My Instagram is like mainly fashion, roller skating, and then day to day I do like social media for a vintage shop. Um, and yeah, I think overall I'm just fashiony gal. I like to try and share my own personal experiences with life and just things in general, and in the hopes that it can possibly help other people. So I think that's kind of me and what I do.
How are you doing at the moment?
As much as I complain about this pandemic, I feel like it's actually been very good for me in a lot of ways. I went through like a really hard breakup about this time last year, and oh my god, it's been a process, like a whole healing process. But I finally feel like I'm kind of like coming at the other end of it, and I just feel really happy at the moment and at peace with my life and just proud of everything that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm actually really good.
What's your journey been like going from the breakup getting to where you are now?
A lot of therapy. I've been to therapy before, but it's the first time that I've like fully committed to it for longer than just a few sessions. So I've actually been going since last June. And as soon as the breakup kind of happened, it took me a few months to like realize like how bad some things were and what some of the things I went through actually meant, and kind of to put a name on them. And I think going to therapy helped me realize everything that had happened to me without it kind of destroying me. So I was able to kind of talk about it, with someone who obviously wasn't judging me, and helped me to understand it, and then obviously helped me to heal. And it's so funny, like there's been so many different stages of my healing, and I definitely feel like it's been like almost like a grieving process as well. And some days I'm doing so fantastic. And I remember like in the summer last year, I was like, I'm over this, like I'm doing so well. And then October time, I think it was around the time Miley released her new album. I just remember listening to the album and I was like, I'm not okay. And then I just cried for like probably about 3 months solid straight. Like after that, like I'd say at least 3 times a week I would cry for like an hour. But it felt really good. Like I think, after the summer last year, I was like, I should be over this. Like I shouldn't be feeling this way anymore. I shouldn't still be having these feelings. But I think when I was crying so much come the winter time, I was like, you know what? I've been pushing this away and pretending not to feel it, but I think I need to feel this to really heal it. I think, the biggest thing for me was like learning to not push my emotions away because of how I should be feeling or how I should be handling things, and just, saying, this is how I feel. I'm really kind of honoring the feelings and stuff. So,
Would you have any advice for anyone who's starting therapy for the first time?
I think the thing with therapy is, and with, especially if somebody's in a really bad place, I think people think that therapy is what's going to fix them. And unfortunately, yes, it's very helpful, but at the end of the day, therapy is a tool. It's not the fixer. So only you can fix yourself. So what you put into therapy is what you get out of therapy.
You mentioned that you've been strong-minded and independent. Have you always been that way?
Like I think I've definitely had times in my life where I've been insecure. But it's weird because I think for me, like a lot of the time, I'll mask insecurities with confidence.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Like I think there's been times where, say, there's been a few people like that I went to school with and stuff that would say not nice things about me, or like I was in a certain group of girls, and one was in particular really quite nasty to me, and I think rather than getting upset about it, I'd kind of go the other way and be like, oh my God, look at me kind of thing.
What was actually going on for you?
I think it was just a bit like, why am I being treated like this? Like, always why? Don't get me wrong, I do try to be very self-aware and check in if there's times where, you know, I am the toxic one or I am kind of slipping up a bit. So I always try and check that. And I've kind of just learned that, like, that's not my issue, like, that's their issue. So I think, like, I've just tried to kind of teach myself that, even though, like, you know, as I said, it would always be like, why are people treating me like, it was just that kind of thing. It was like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just kind of reminding myself now that most of the time it's their own shit that they need to sort out, you know?
And have you got any friendships now in your life that are just the complete opposite, that light you up?
So many. Like, I'm so grateful for all my friends now. Like, yeah, I always, you know, a friendship for me is like quality over quantity, and I have so many, like, I can count on one hand, like, you know, really good friendships that I have, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, just really supportive and always there for me kind of thing, and just people I can have fun with and laugh with, but also be, as I said, I'm quite a deep person and I'm sensitive, so being able to have like a deep conversation is like a big thing for me. But I feel like I have really good friends that I can have those kind of conversations with. What I look for in a friend is what I want to be as a friend too. And I always try to compliment my friends, like, on how they are doing as a friend. And I feel like they give that back. So it's nice to hear as well. So
what do you want to be remembered for?
I struggled with an eating disorder as a teenager, and like obviously came out the other end. And now I feel great. So I think for me, I just want to be able to give that feeling to other people and like be able to make people feel like a bad bitch, you know? That's like what I look like. Oh, she's the girl who made me feel like a bad bitch. That's what I want to be remembered for.
I love that so much. And what was that time like in your life?
It was really hard. Like, obviously I struggled a lot, but I think the hardest part of it for me is like how, like, knowing how much I put my family through. I saw my dad cry a few times, which was just like crazy. And then, you know, I think, yeah, it definitely like broke my whole family's heart. So I think like that was probably the hardest part of it for me, like seeing what I was doing to other people. But, you know, I knew only I could fix myself, but for so long I just couldn't, you know. People not understanding as well was like really hard. And, you know, people kind of just being like, you need to eat, like, why don't you just eat? Like, it's like, oh, this doesn't work like this.
What do you think people just don't understand about eating disorders?
I think people just see like the physical and the food side of things without actually realizing like it's a whole kind of, it's a mental illness, you know, like it's not someone just deciding they don't want to eat anymore. Like, I think, yeah, before you get to a point where you're severely restricting, it's a whole process. Like, start that you're just on a diet. I know for me, that's what it was. I decided to go on a diet, and then I saw how quickly I could lose weight, and then it just became about a control thing. Like, it was something in my life that I could control because everything else felt so out of control. But this was something that, you know, it was numbers, and I was so addicted to the numbers. And that's the thing as well that I don't think people realize is it's actually an addiction. Like, it's a really bad form of addiction. Like, you get addicted to the numbers in terms of counting calories, but also in terms of watching the scales drop and stuff. So yeah, I think that whole side of it is probably something that people don't realize. I do think it's spoken about a lot more than when I was suffering anyway, but yeah, I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
What would you say to your younger self that was going through that?
I think it's so complex. Like, there's probably so many things I would say to myself, you know, like, and I think I don't even think I would make it about like food or like eating. I think I would just like constantly, you know, remind myself that I'm worthy and that I'm loved, and, you know, I don't need this to feel good, and I don't need to do this in order for people to care about me, because I think that was the big thing for me as well. Like, I kind of felt like my illness was the only reason that people cared about me, kind of thing. You know, I felt like, if I'm not dying, are people still going to love me, kind of thing, you know? So I think that's probably a big part of it as well. And I think that's probably why a lot of people, not even just with eating disorders, but I think, you know, with a lot of like mental illness or, you know, mental health issues, like a lot of people get attached to their disorders or their illnesses and feel like, well, what am I without this? And will people still care about me, or will people still love me if if I don't have this, you know? So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would just tell myself is like, yeah, I don't need this to be cared about.
I think you're phenomenal.
Oh, thanks.
What's something that you're proudest of yourself for?
I think, yeah, probably overcoming everything and like, you know, being able to be the person I am today after everything, because yeah, like there was the eating disorder, there was a whole abusive relationship, there was it all, you know, there was family issues, you know, so many things. And I think, yeah, being able to still be here now and do everything that I do, and I'm so proud of everything that I do as well. I think, yeah, like just even being here, I always knew like I was creative, always been something, as I said, you know, a way for me to just tell the world what I'm feeling or express myself kind of thing. And I think that's so important to me, and it's a huge part of who I am. So yeah, and just, yeah, I think that's just what I'm most proud of.
I love that. And I love that, you know, we're not just one part of ourselves. The part of you that's continuously working on connecting to yourself is one part. The amazing creative person you are is another. And I think you're just such a reminder of everything can be happening all in one body. And I have one more question for you. What's your why?
Help people feel like the best version of themselves. And you know, even if that only reaches a few people, like to me, like that means so much. But yeah, I definitely think we're all here for a purpose, and I think, you know, we all kind of inspire each other. Like there's people that inspire me. So I think, you know, to do everything that I said and, you know, help people in any way that I can, but also to be inspired by other people. And I think, yeah, just kind of be a part of everything, just help people kind of enjoy life and, you know, embrace themselves and, yeah, focus on being an individual.